As chiropractors, we have an enviable safety record when it comes to us versus any other health practitioner or medicine in any way, shape, or form. Yet there's still sometimes agendas that get pushed, and it leads to a lot of false information. The one hot button topic in the chiropractic world is there's false information out there that a chiropractic adjustment of your neck could potentially cause a stroke. Now, it's one thing for that to get pushed by people with an agenda, but if a medical doctor or someone else says that to you, it's going to hold a lot of weight. But let's look at what the research really shows and look at what sparks some of these things. So back in 2016, it really was a hot button topic because a model by the name of Katie May in California had a stroke and died. And there was a few things that tried to link chiropractic to causing that. She'd been at a photo shoot, she'd fallen, and the report said that she'd hit her head and or her neck. She then felt like she had a pinched nerve in her neck, and she tweeted, "I have a pinched nerve in my neck, I'm gonna go see my chiropractor." She went in and got adjusted. 2 days later, she tweeted again saying, "My neck still hurts, I'm gonna go to my chiropractor tomorrow." But she never made that visit because she was then taken to hospital later that day, put on life support because she'd had a particular type of stroke that involves the vertebral artery in the neck, which is very, very rare anyway, and she later unfortunately passed away. This made a lot of media, as the media tends to jump on these things, and the coroner released a report that showed the potential causes of death were vertebral artery dissection, brain infarction, which comes from the stroke, blunt trauma to the neck, and described the death as an accident. So the blunt trauma to the neck fits with her having hit her head with a fall, yet the same office released a report to the media saying, "We think she died after getting adjusted by a chiropractor." So as you can imagine, a lot of patients that we see, and I'm sure chiropractors all around the world, were suddenly getting asked this question, "Hey, that thing you do with my neck, is that going to cause a stroke?" And first of all, before we even jump into what the research shows, if we really want to play that comparison game, even if chiropractic had been behind that, which as you'll see from the research, it really doesn't fit at all, but even if it had been behind that, that's one death. When we look at death due to medical errors in the US alone, there's over 250,000 people a year. When we look at pharmaceutical related deaths, every year the USA and Europe combined is 300,000. So where's the outrage with that? But there was even a potential possibility that a chiropractor had been part of something that led to a person's death, and we're all up in arms about it. But when we look at the research, we'll see what well and truly was most likely to have happened. So an agenda was started 20 or 30 years ago by some scientists trying to find if getting adjusted by a chiropractor would cause a stroke. And there were some really poorly done studies that did show, hey, there is an association here where the people who have this particular kind of stroke, they're more likely to have seen a chiropractor the week before it happened. And so, boom, we think that chiropractic adjustments are causing this stroke. But there's a saying in the science world, causation doesn't equal correlation. And as these next two big studies I'm going to talk about will show, there's a reason that increase in likelihood seemed to happen. So in 2008, Cassidy did a huge study. They found 818 cases of this vertebral artery stroke out of basically the group of people they said was a combined 100 million people years, meaning if one person in the study was 40, another person was 50, that's 90 people years. So 100 million years worth of age. That's a lot of people, and only 818 of these cases. So it's already an infinitely small number. So even if chiropractic was increasing the risk of this, these things are so minutely rare, like 0.0000001% likelihood you'll even have this kind of stroke of anyone in the population. It's so rare that it's hard to even measure. But here's some interesting things they found. They compared people who'd gone to a chiropractor versus a primary care physician and had these kind of strokes. If you were over the age of 45, there was zero correlation, zero statistical link whatsoever that you'd either gone to your MD or a chiropractor and yet still had that stroke anyway. Under 45, they said, you know what? There does seem to be a correlation where someone's gone to a chiropractor within a week before it, and then they have this stroke. But the big key here is there was the equally same likelihood that you'd gone to your MD the week before as well. So they were able to make a couple of conclusions. Number one, they know that medical doctors aren't normally manipulating or adjusting someone's neck. So why was that the same as if you went to a chiropractor? Well, their conclusion was not that chiropractic was causing this stroke. It was that 2 out of 3 people, when they have this kind of stroke, their earliest symptoms are neck pain and headaches. So what are the 2 most likely places someone with those symptoms would go? Their medical doctor and their chiropractor. So they concluded that the stroke was already in place and starting to happen. You have those symptoms, so you go to a chiropractor or you go to your medical doctor. They missed that you were having a stroke because these strokes look so much like other things. And then a couple days later, it keeps escalating. And now we go, hey, I went to a chiropractor, I went to my MD, now I'm having a stroke. So you can see how that link was first made. But then an even bigger study was done in 2015, and they found a little shy of 1,900 cases of this particular type of stroke out of 40 million health plan members. I think that was out of California and a couple other states. So again, a very small number of people are having this. They found 0 correlation under or over the age of 45 with going to a chiropractor and having this particular type of stroke. They said there is no link, there's no evidence to back it up. We're not seeing any statistical increase or likelihood of you having this if you go to your chiropractor. But there was an increase if you go to your MD. So they didn't conclude MDs are causing strokes like some of the early researchers did when they found a link thinking chiropractors cause strokes. They made the normal rational link or conclusion that, again, people are having symptoms that take them to their doctor. The doctor misses that they're having a stroke because they're very hard to detect this type, and then they continue to escalate and have this stroke. And so when you look at the size of those 2 studies, firstly, how very, very rare these types of strokes are anyway, but then the way they've been able to pull apart all of this and very plainly show that you are at no more risk, it cleans up so much of this. And then when people have done studies to look at the mechanics of a chiropractic adjustment and whether it puts a certain amount of pressure on those arteries in your neck or not, you actually turn your neck more and close those down when you're checking your blind spot and driving, or when you're in extension and looking back like this, like when you're at the hair salon getting your hair washed. You're actually far more at risk of having this kind of stroke getting your hair cut than you are going to a chiropractor. So for any of you who have been worried about this at all, or had that thought, or been told this, you can say, that's interesting. Why don't you show me the studies that prove that? Because then there were some other big studies that were done that actually, and these weren't by chiropractors, these were by neurosurgeons and types like that went back and looked at all the little small studies that had tried to paint a link that chiropractic was causing strokes. And not only did they absolutely pull it apart with huge weaknesses, and most of these studies they concluded should never have even been published, when they looked at the data and the research, they said there is no link. There's no biomechanical link that shows that a neck adjustment should cause this anyway, and we're not seeing any statistical increase that would lead us to believe that. And so for those of you who are listening or watching this, just know that there is 0 things you can do in health that are absolutely 100% no chance of anything going wrong, like that safe. I mean, we can't ever say anything's 100% safe, because if one person has died or been injured from it, then you look at some of the stats on things where the epidemiologists do a study and you might be 99.98% safe doing something simple like washing your dishes, but someone has died doing it, they had a heart attack. We all know that washing the dishes didn't cause their heart attack, but you can say, well, there was a correlation there. So nothing can be 100% safe, but chiropractic safety record stands up here compared to everything else. And as much as people try and pick it apart, it just keeps getting made to show that it's stronger and stronger. So if you're on the fence about trying chiropractor and you've been nervous about your neck, you don't have to worry. Again, you're more likely to cause a stroke yourself driving to our office, and you are far more likely, thousands of times more likely, to get run over by a truck in a serious accident on the way to our office. So it is safe. There's no risk there at all. You can have comfort in knowing that your very experienced chiropractor is going to take good care of you. So I know this is a longer one. Thank you so much for making it all the way through to this point. If you've got any questions or anything like that, just leave a comment for us. We'd love to answer for you. Thanks.